Okay, so I'm going to be giving you a quick tutorial on how to do some stuff, just so you're cutting through some of the noise. So if you see where my mouse is hanging about right now, over this file. So this is what I was talking about, is make a file and put all of your project assets into the file. Because let's say I have some files over here, I have some files in my, let's say, my downloads. If you move any of these files, you're fucked, because then it won't be able to find the project file, and even if you put it back in place, it'll still glitch out. So please make a file, put all the file assets that you're going to use. So let's just do I'll just take these clips here. So in Vegas, you basically can drag them this way into the file, which is, I'll show you again. You just go here and you could drag them right into the program. If, for example, as I was telling you, if the program doesn't allow it, you can click File, Import Media, and then let's say it's whatever it is, it's like on your desktop, you can click Joe Project, Project to Assets, and you could drag all these in that way. So multiple different ways you could do it. So let's get into the basics. So you have all these clips, okay? So there's a few things that you should know. When you first start, the number one thing you should do on all, specifically video clips, is right click the video, go to switches, and turn off disable resample. Now another way you could do this is you can click on the first image, hold shift, go to the end, and left click again, and you see how all these are yellow. You can now right click, go over to switches, and click disable resample. Now there are chances that you'll have clips that maybe have like a black bar, because you may have like vertical videos, horizontal videos, whatever. You can click here, click to the very end, just as I showed you, holding shift and left clicking from both sides. Now again, you want to just left click the first one without holding shift, then hold shift, go to the end image, and left click while holding shift. Right click, go to switches, and you could turn off maintain aspect ratio. But bear in mind, if certain clips have like a black bar and you don't like it, some images may turn into this, but some of them might actually look better because some of them do have black bars. So you could see that there was definitely a difference going to this and turning off maintain aspect ratio. Next up, let's say you don't really like how this image looks, you want to zoom in better. You can click, there's two bars here. This is going to be your video event FX. This is if you want to like edit or add effects. This is the crop tool. Some important things about the crop tool: you want to make sure that you are selected to the very beginning. Now this may look all confusing, so all I'm going to do is scroll out, and I want to take here, and there's different settings here. So let's say I want to keep this image, but if I go here, see how it moves everything and I can go in all directions? Let's say, oh shit, I messed up. Click Control Z, and it'll bring you right back to the beginning. So there's a tool right here. It's called Move Freely X or Y. If you have it put on Move in X only, even if I go up, it'll only move the image left and right. Okay? You also have this, which is Size About Center. Now, if I stretch this image, it'll always try to keep the image in the center. If I turn that off and it goes to lock aspect ratio, watch this. It'll try to lock the aspect ratio in whatever direction. So it'll always try to maintain frame for frame the picture. If I turn that off and then start stretching the image, see how it affects it all? Let me turn it back on so you can see what I'm talking about. Turn it off. It allows me to stretch the image whatever way I like. So those are just some important things to consider. Now, these are the enable snapping. So let's say you want it to be a little more snappy, reactive, so that you have like frame for frame, it'll basically do chunks, which can be helpful, sometimes not. Now, some of the important things you want to make sure to keep on is right here. It's called sync cursor. So when sync cursor is on, if I go down here and I click the right key, so there's your right and left key. Now see how I'm doing right and left and it's moving it? If I hold the right key or press it, you'll see that it moves along the clip. So if you're doing a video, you can go like this to every single individual keyframe. Now let's say right here, I want the video to shrink, let's say. So now I want to enable, let's say, size and snapping. And I just want this to kind of shrink a bit. Now if I go back here, let's say I just want this clip. I can double click the clip and you'll see this blue bar appear. So now only this will play. So let's say, okay, I don't mind that, but I want it to be a bit quicker. You can move it forward. Pretty cool, hey? So the next thing is I want to click mask. And let's say I just want to click, I want his head to be in the clip. Obviously, these are just like things that you may not have to ever use. So the tool we're going to use here, it's called Anchor Creation, or if you press D. So what you do is you can click, and what you're going to do is you're going to click the next object, click another spot, click another spot, click another spot. And bear in mind, you can zoom in as well to get the keyframing a little bit closer if you'd like. So I'm just going to do a pretty quick obviously this is never going to be something that you use, but once you're done with the image, you're going to get this glowing yellow. Once you click that, it's going to key mask this. So only this image will now show. But if you click here, you know how we did the zoom? The image is going to shrink it. So you could do pretty creative stuff once you're done with your mask, where you can move the image whatever side, and you could turn this back on so it only moves up and down. You could turn this so you can move it in whatever direction. So that's just something to note. And if you turn it off, it will keep the image back to whatever it is. Now there's some other features to know too. If you right click on this little gray piece, I'm just trying to make sure, can you see that? Yeah, you could see that. So it's a little gray piece, you could right click it, and you could change what this does. So you just right click on this little tiny gray diamond, and let's say you want it to be smooth, or you want it to be sharp. So I'm gonna shrink the clip down in half. So it'll be more noticeable if I do it like this. So here's linear. Here's fast. Here's, oh, didn't do it that time. Here's slow. Here's smooth. So there's different effects you can create with this, okay? So that realistically covers everything that you really need to know with this tool. You understand snapping, you could use the zoom, so it can move you in a specific spot. So if you're masking, and let's say you really need a specific spot, you can just go like this, or you could right click. So if you left click, it'll zoom into the specific spot. You could right click to zoom out of the image, and that pretty much covers everything you need to know on this side. So let's move on to something that's going to be more complex. If you click this, you're not going to have this sapphire stuff, but if you want it later, I can add it. You're basically just going to have the Sony tool, which is going to be all of this. So I would recommend you mess with all of this stuff because it does teach you a lot. So for example, I'm going to go back to this image and I'm going to remove the mask key that I made here. There we go. I'm going to go to the right of these two, which is the VFX, and let's say I want a film grain, which we were working on that together in the video. So you could change the amount, you could change the granulating, and how it affects like the chroma. So what it will actually do. Now, instead of every single fucking time having to click this, they give you your own little project spot on the left. So then all you have to do is go to this little tool here, plug-in chain, and you can add a new one. So you can have like black and white. So if you add that, you could add black and white. You can change how much black and white. If you want it very subtle, if you want it not so subtle, you could do that. If you want to remove any of these, you can click the check mark or have it selected and click the remove selected plugin. So let's say, here's a great one, Sony Color Corrector. This one is a fantastic one. This is basically a more advanced version of what your phone can do for picture editing. You can chromatically change the colors that you want all completely here. You could change the saturation. You could change the gamma. You could change the gain. You could even offset the colors. So you could have clips that have like different chromatic exposure. Some others are like film effect. So this will add like a film grain, a tint if you want, the amount. You could even change like what the effect will be. So you could add like basically a TV screen to some stuff if you'd like. But some of the main ones are going to be mostly used by you. Could be like Gaussian blur, fill light, color balance. But the main one that I think you're really going to like is it's called Chroma Keyer. And you always click on the image or the item, click add, and you'll always see it on the top here where it says color corrector, film effects, and Chroma Keyer. So it's already been added. So you click OK. Now let's say there's the background I really don't like, which it's going to be very difficult in an image like this, but let's just say I change the color to this. You can mess with some of the values to try and maintain some of the other stuff. So like let's say you wanted the background removed for some reason. You could basically remove part of the background. Another thing you could do is, let's say I really like that, but I want to add a blur. You can essentially go like this, make a partial blur. You can go to the channels, and you can make certain colors in the channel not have the effect. So to go from an image that looks like this, just two effects can make it look like this. So it's all really about testing stuff, messing around, and just seeing what looks the best to you. Now, the program that I was using that you may be asking about is, it's not in Sony, it's in this FX tab. This program is like $500 and it's called Sapphire. So the program that I was showing you where we added the S_shake should be right here. You click add. And this is how you do some of the shake. And again, you could do a better motion blur. You can change the distance to make it look insane. You can add different frequencies, amplitude. It's all really about what you want. So let's just say I want all these removed now. I can remove all of those. Pretty sure. So if something is blocking your way and you need something like up here, you have your presets, you can click this weird little it's like a little 5-button tab on the very left of your screen. And you could basically grab and move items. So for example, I don't know because you can't see my mouse on the screen, but where it says file, under that is a little project, Under that is a little tiny X. Under that is a little arrow facing left. And then there's like 6 little dots. If you grab that, it allows you to grab pieces. And you could put them all back if you want. You can just grab the image, move it to the left part of the screen. It's a little finicky to get it, but when you get it like this, it'll keep these tabs all in one thing. And then you could drag this, you could drag here, and you could see all of the transition files from here. You could see all your video effects files. You could see media generators. And if you ever needed to just access something from your computer instead of clicking File Import, you could just click on Explorer and go through your documents, your music, your pictures. So let's just say you put it on your desktop. You can go here and you can go find whatever file you need. Like, let's say I want to use this. I could just drag this right in. Now, the next thing I want to tell you, very important. On the left part of the screen, right where this, see where I'm marking where it's like blue and highlighting? These are your levels. So if you have audio, you can play with this little dial here, but because it's a video, you could play with the color of like whether or not it goes dark or transparent or translucent, whatever. But you also have the option of grabbing the opacity and using this little slider. So this little slider here can also react with just single videos. So this part here could be blanked out, 50% let's say, and this will be 100% unaffected. Now, let's bring it back to 100% opacity. And right here, you're going to get like a little protractor looking tool. That's going to say fade out offset. Hold the left mouse button and drag to the left. Now, let's say I want these 2 clips to blend. Okay? You can click Control, Shift, and Q. And that'll make another tab. Or you can click Insert, Video Track, and it says right here, Control, Shift, Q. Now you could drag this clip up here. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a fade. And again, you could just play with the values to make it look best. But let's remove this quick. So you can make the clips blend a little bit better. You could even make this fade take a lot longer. Play with the values. Super simple. Next up, you have this audio bar on the very right. So let's say if you're playing with audio, you could play with these masters. So let's just say the audio is really high on one of the parts, and it's anything on like the +6 that's going red, you need to turn down the audio. So what you do is you right click and you can go to switches or properties, and it allows you to change some parts of the media. But what's important is the one that you need for if it's audio, which I will just drag in a random, here, I'll just drag in this video. So this has audio, right? I right click, I go to switches, and I click normalize. This will make it so that the audio is a little bit better, but you could also right click and always keep on loop just in case. But you have different features you can add, like you have audio event FX. And if you go to Sony, you have all of these. You have like amplitude, chorus. There's even one that does volume. So you can click volume, add, and let's just say I turn up the audio fully, which there is no audio on the clip, but that's the example of what you can do if the audio is too low. Or you can click this volume slider on the bottom left where I'm moving, and you can increase the decibels. But again, be wary. You don't want this output meter on the right or the left bottom piece to go around like +6 or show a lot of red. If it's showing red, that means that the audio is going to start sounding like scratchy and way too loud. +2 is okay. +6, +9, it's way too loud, the audio. You might not notice it, but when you render the video, it's going to sound like shit. So last up from this, all you really need to know now is you can basically edit your crops. You know how to add effects. You know how to insert things. The last thing you need to know is that you're going to click File and Render As and constantly save. So now this is what I like to do is when you open it up, the main one you're going to use is called Main Concept AVC AAC MP4. Click it. You're going to have a thing called Sony Tablet. Favorite it. And you can click Show Favorites Only if you wanted to. Now you can name it. Let's just call it Project. You could even change the file location. So let's just say you want it on your desktop for now. And let's say you're doing vertical videos. You can click Customize Tablet. And you have your frame size here. You can click Customize the frame size. So now all you have to do is plug in these values backwards. So it would be 1080 by 1920. Click OK. And now you're going to have two different tabs. So if you go to this one and click Customize the template, you'll see it's a custom frame size. You can rename it if you want to Phone Vertical, if you so pleased. So now you could also save this so you know that this is the normal one if you're doing videos like moi in the background, or if you're doing a vertical phone, you can use this bottom one. So let's say I want to use the bottom one. Now this says Render Loop Region Only. Turn that off. Go to Render. The reason why it showed that is because I have this little blue and yellow bar at the very bottom left. You have to be careful of that. So now let's say you want to have it where once the video is done rendering, you could either close the dialog box and leave it. If you keep it unchecked, it's not a big deal. But now all these clips are just coming together. It's almost at 100%. Now, the best part is if this stays open, you get this little yellow box at the bottom. So let's say you leave, you want to go smoke, do whatever. It'll tell you, hey, this thing is done. Now you can click Open Folder. And it opens right in your documents. And everything's saved as a phone. So obviously there's random images and such, but everything gets cut out using that. So you have to be careful. See, it'll stretch everything. So you have to be very wary of what you're using, and it's a lot of just experimenting. So hopefully this helps you.